as we move around the state of North Carolina, obviously it's a program we know very well, right, Bubba?
Yeah, very excited right now to catch up with the 8th-year head baseball coach of East Carolina, Cliff Godwin. Coach, welcome back to the show.
Guys, always a pleasure. Appreciate you guys having me on.
Yeah, Coach, I know that obviously as a competitor that you are, that you always like to have more time, as we say, but it's hard to believe that baseball season is right around the corner.
It is. It's crazy. It seems that in some capacity that the season just ended a few days ago from last year, and then in some capacity it feels like it's been 2 years since we've played, an opposing opponent in the spring. So, but I'm excited. Our guys are excited, and we just need to stay in that present moment and work each day to get a little bit better.
Coach, let's get right into the roster. Let's start off, talking about behind the plate. You lose a guy like Seth Cadell, and then you have a proven commodity, a guy who's played excellent baseball for you, in Ben Newton.
Yeah, I tell people all the time it's the deepest our catching's ever been here. We got 4 quality options back there. Ben, obviously leading the charge, 5th-year senior, has caught here, has been in our program for 3 years because he's a junior college transfer. Super smart, great defender, receiver, blocker, and, solid left-handed stick for sure, and he's continuing to get better offensively. Then you got 3 other guys, 2 freshmen, Ryan McChrystal, Aiden Edwards, who complement each other pretty well. Ryan's probably a little bit more offensive, but has a lot of tools behind the plate. Ryan has an unbelievable arm, probably the best arm that we've ever had here behind the plate. Aiden's probably a little bit in front of him defensively, but not quite the offensive player, but has gotten a lot better offensively. And then a guy that's been in our program who's always had the talent, but now is starting to really put things together is Justin Wilcoxon, who had a great fall for us. And just super excited about the depth that we have back there.
Coach, let's go around the infield. Certainly we'll start with first base. Can you talk about who's going to be playing there?
Yeah, Josh Mullen, everybody knows that name, and Josh will start there for sure. And he has done a good job. He's really shaped up his body with our strength coach, Dennis Wilson. He is more athletic, leaner, better defender, all those good things. So, and then we have some other guys that can fill in there. AMAC can go over there, CJ Boyd, Jacob Jenkins-Cowart, Cam Clonch. So some different options there at first base.
Coach, you mentioned AMAC with guys like AMAC, and then obviously Zach Agnos, Ryder Giles. You have a lot of interchangeability amongst those infield positions. So if you would, take us around the horn and tell us who's fitting in where.
Well, if we started tomorrow, which we don't, AMAC would play third base, Ryder would play short, Zach would play second. And I say that because Jacob Starling's still coming back from an injury. He hurt his leg in summer baseball and just taking some time. And he's probably 80% healthy and he's doing stuff. It just his leg gets sore here and there. Joey Barini has done an outstanding job, continued to become a better defender. He can play short and second as well. And so those guys can really, CJ Boyd plays a little bit of second base, but with AMAC and Zach especially, those guys can bounce around a little bit. And Ryder can play anywhere on the infield as well. He's just a really good shortstop. So, if we played tomorrow, Agnes would be at second, AMAC would be at third, and Ryder would be at short. But the thing I like about this team, and before we get into the outfield, is, we have the ability to go really, really offensive at any point in time and really, really defensive at any point in time. So that's a good luxury to have.
Coach, let's move out to the outfield. Can you talk about, I guess we can start with left field, who you have there?
Well, Lane Hoover can play all over, but Lane has played a lot of left field because that's the one corner position he just hadn't played a ton of. Carter Cunningham, who is a junior college transfer, really swung the bat well for us this fall. He's a corner outfielder, either left or right. Bryson, you could see him in right. You could see him in center. Riley Johnson, you could see in center. You could see in right. AMAC obviously can play in the outfield. Cam Clonch can play out there. CJ Boyd can play out there. So a lot of different options out there as well.
Yeah, you mentioned Riley Johnson. Obviously, he had some moments a season ago, really swung the bat well at times, and Bryson Wool. You talk about what Bryson did defensively. I guess it was in the regional, and he had some web gems out there in center field. And you talk about Riley being able to play there as well. It's nice to be strong up the middle like that.
Yeah, you got to be strong up the middle if you're going to be good. Bryson, what a lot of people don't realize, last year, once the conference tournament, when we got beat and he went into the wall, Bryson played in a lot of pain, and I'm so proud of him. I don't know if he could have done that his freshman year, and, we never want to put our guys at risk, but he was chomping at the bit. We wouldn't have won the regional if it wasn't for Bryson. I mean, going over the wall against Charlotte and robbing that home run that Austin Knight hit. So he really toughed it out, and he didn't swing the bat great. Obviously had a big double in the Charlotte game, but he really was having a tough time swinging. He didn't take BP from the time we lost in the conference tournament until day one in the super regional. So you're talking about 2 weeks that he didn't even take live arm action because his shoulder hurt so bad. So just so proud of him of what he's done for our program, and I'm excited. I think he's going to have the best year he's ever had this year. Riley Johnson, last year, I think he kind of doubted himself at times when the coaches thought he was a great player, and when Hoover went down, he was kind of thrown into it, and you'd see glimpses of greatness, and then he wouldn't play as consistent, but he had a really good fall for us, and probably if we started tomorrow, he'd be in center field and Bryson would be in right, but it's great that both those guys can play center field at a high level.
And Coach, last but certainly not least, one of the areas I think that it seems like the pitching position gets deeper and deeper each year. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, I think, we have a lot of depth. Some of it's young depth, but our young pitchers are as talented as any group we've ever had here, and they've done a really good job of just showing up and going to work every day. When you look at who's going to be in the starting rotation, and we talk about we want every guy that takes the ball, whether it be on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Tuesday, Wednesday, to be a Friday night starter. I think there's 5 guys that are kind of leading the charge. You always have a surprise, but the 5 guys that I would say that are leading the charge are Wisenhunt, of course, Garrett Saylor, Logish, Cooch Manor, and Groves. And those guys also, some of them could also pitch out of the bullpen in some big roles as well. So, we're going to take it early on for sure is, hey, we're going to try to win that first game and do what we need to do, and then, figure out next midweek and all that good stuff once we get through the weekend. So, but those 5 guys have done a really good job, and they offer all different types of pitchers, which is a good thing as well.
Before we talk about some of the relief options, Carson Wisenhunt, he had the opportunity to pitch for USA Baseball. You've had the chance to be involved with USA Baseball as well. So just talk about that experience for him.
It was a great experience for him. We really weren't going to let him go play in the summer just because of the workload he had on the mound. It's the most he's ever pitched in his life. But when you get an opportunity to play with Team USA, it's a no-brainer for me. And they took a really, really good care of him. Coach Avent, him and I were in constant communication, and he just raved about how Carson handled himself, which is always great to hear from one of your players. But we've had 4 guys in the past 3 years that have been able to play with the collegiate national team, and that's pretty special. So it was definitely a great experience for him.
Coach, we always ask you, as far as we know how much you love the game, and this particular case with the college game, is there any hope that we can ever have the option to hire another assistant coach? It's very frustrating that those of us that follow the game and their fans.
I would say this, there's a lot of other things that athletic directors are worried about and the NCAA is worried about, and it's not the third assistant for baseball. Whether I agree with that or not, they're more worried about budgets and Title IX and different issues like that. So I don't see that changing in the near future. The thing I would say is we're able to compensate and I hate using the word volunteer. The only part of volunteer is that East Carolina doesn't pay him. It gets paid out of the Cliff Godwin baseball camp. But we've been very fortunate to be able to take care of our volunteers at a high level because of our camp success and the success we've had on the field.
Coach, speaking of your staff, about some of the staff changes that you've undergone since last season.
Wow. I don't know if we've got enough time to talk about it, but, I'll make it pretty simple. I mean, Coach Dietrich got the head coach's job at Cal State Fullerton. What a great opportunity for him, and a place that he worked at, but also grew up going to games with his dad and his brothers. And, it's a tribute to him being a part of our program and helping us continue to get better that he was allowed that opportunity. But the thing that Coach Knight, when he was hired here, a few years ago, he wanted to be a pitching coach. So he was Dietz' right-hand man. He was down with the pitchers every day and continuing to learn. And it was a no-brainer for me when Coach Dietz was named the head coach at Cal State Fullerton Austin Knight. We had head coaches reaching out about that position across the country. And for me, it was a no-brainer for a couple of reasons. Number one, Austin Knight, I've known for a long time, dating back to Ole Miss when he was a catcher for me. And he is as loyal as the day is long. And then he's super knowledgeable about how to develop pitchers and also take care of them from an arm care aspect of it. So that was a no-brainer. And, we hired David Macias, and then he got the first base coaching job for the San Diego Padres here in December. And Austin technically was in that volunteer role still because I wanted him to be at fall practice all the time and not have to go on the road and recruit. So once David left and went with the Padres, I just moved Austin into that second assistant role because he had done such a great job. And, it allowed us to, maneuver some money around. And, Blake Carter, who's our director of baseball operations and does a great job, I was able to give him a raise. And Colby Bortles is now our volunteer assistant. And then we just hired a new director of player development, Keith Blackman, who was the head baseball coach at Hickory Grove Christian in the Charlotte area. So we have gotten our staff together finally and are ready to rock and roll for the season.
Coach, one of the things that fans are excited about certainly is the upcoming season. And I know the first weekend you start off with, Brian, can you talk a little bit about your schedule?
Yeah, we have, in my opinion, probably the toughest schedule on paper that we've ever had. So we'll have to bring our A game, so to speak, on every given day, or we won't play at the level we want to. But we open up with Bryant. I think we play Campbell midweek, and then we have North Carolina for a 3-game series. So we play North Carolina Friday, Saturday in Chapel Hill, and then Sunday here in Greenville. And for all the East Carolina fans that think that Carolina mistreats us, they don't. They're going to come here next year on Friday and Saturday, and we'll play there on Sunday. So Coach Forbes and I have a great working relationship. And then you got the Keith LeClaire, and I forget who we played in the midweek before the Keith LeClaire, but the Keith LeClaire, you have Michigan with Eric Backus and Nick Schnabel. You have Maryland, which was just in our regional, and then Indiana State, who has a great program. And then it just goes from there. We play a lot of quality opponents on the weekend, but your normal midweek foes that are really good. You got Duke home and home, NC State home and home, UNC Wilmington home and home. I think we play Old Dominion in there at some point in time too. So Elon, a lot of great opponents because of where we're located. So it's a really challenging schedule.
Coach, as we wrap this up, I'm going to talk about the banquet, and it is sold out. It sold out in record time this year, and that's not surprising with the success that the program's had. But and just talk about the banquet and who you have coming in as keynote speakers with Clayton McCullough and also Connor Norby.
Yeah, I literally just got off the phone with Clayton McCullough. As you guys were calling me, Clayton, one of my best friends, played here at East Carolina. We've known each other since we were in high school. Is now the first base coach for the Los Angeles Dodgers. What a great MLB organization they have right now. They've been very consistent at winning at a high level for the last 2 years, and Clayton's been a huge part of that. So people are excited about hearing him. And then Connor Norby, a guy that was drafted in the second round, 41st pick overall. Norbs is excited to come back and kind of tell his story and, how he ended up being where he was last year. And I think I just enjoy hearing people talk about all the obstacles that they had to overcome to become the success that they are at any given moment. And I think a lot of times people just don't see the stuff that goes on behind the scenes that was a struggle or was hard, and they just see that this guy signed for, well over $1 million, and, how easy it must be for him, and it wasn't easy for Norby. So excited about that. You hear from a few of our players, and of course, we'll get to talk about the program, spend some time with one another, and raise money for the baseball program, which is great for our student athletes. A lot of things that we're able to get for them comes from the money we raise at the banquet.
And Coach, before we let you go, quick question. I know that I want to remind fans to get season tickets. You can call 1-800-DIAL-ECU, or if you're more of a modern person, you can go to ecupirates.com, get your tickets. Coach, I know that you guys were close to a record for season tickets. Have you passed that, or can you give us an update?
I think we just surpassed it by a few tickets, but what I told Ryan Robinson and everybody is let's try to get to 2,000. We've never had 2,000 season tickets sold before the first game. So if we could do that, I think we're a couple hundred tickets away. So anybody buy them for birthday presents or for future Christmas presents, whatever, but the more people we can have in this stadium, the better. And that's one thing I'm excited about from day one. We get to have full capacity. You forget that we didn't have full capacity here until the regionals, which is kind of remarkable, especially at the level our guys showed consistent play on the field. So we're fired up about having Clark LeClaire in the Jungle Pack.
Coach, good luck to you this season, and look forward to talking to you later on.
Thank you, guys, and thanks for supporting our baseball program.